You're watching Tesla Dave, and we dedicate this episode of Tesla News to the death of the Model X and the Model S.
Windows are down.
Alex, do your Irish dance so that you practice. Hi, Irish dancing, that's the great.
So, in late January, Elon Musk announced on X that production of the Model X and S would end at the end of Q2, and the factory would be transformed to produce robots. There's been a lot of noise recently about the so-called death of the Tesla Model S and X. If you're a Tesla enthusiast like me in the UK, then it's been sad news. For me, the S and the X weren't just cars. They were halo models. They were the cars that made me sit up and think, hang on, a company is completely different. I remember generally struggling to decide what would I have, an X or an S. And that dilemma alone tells you how important these cars were to the brand. So today, I want to talk about the history of the S and X in Europe and why they mattered, why they disappeared from the UK market, and crucially, why this isn't Tesla dying, but this is Tesla evolving. So the halo years, why were the Model S and Model X, why they mattered? Let's just rewind a bit and go back in time to 10 years ago when the Model S landed in Europe. It wasn't just another electric car, it was the electric car. This was the car that embarrassed German luxury brands. It showed that an EV could be fast, beautiful, practical, with tech years ahead. The acceleration, the silence, the minimalist interior, the massive touchscreen when everyone else was still using buttons. I remember it well. And then came the Model X. After the S, mad falcon wings, huge presence, space performance, nothing else quite like it on the UK roads. These cars made Tesla aspirational. They weren't mass market, they were statements. And for many of us in the UK, they were the cars that pulled us into the Tesla ecosystem long before the Model 3 and Y became common sights on the UK roads. These cars were like from Batman. But they quietly exited from the UK market several years ago. Quietly, they just disappeared around about 2020. No big announcement, no dramatic farewell tour, just gone. The Model S and Model X were effectively withdrawn from the right-hand drive markets around the world, like the UK. And at that time, it did feel a bit odd, like Tesla didn't care about us. Why kill the cars that built the brand? The simple answer is that Tesla had moved on. The Model 3 and Model Y started to take off, not just in volume, but in profitability, manufacturability, and global scalability. And Tesla just doesn't do nostalgia. Tesla is forward thinking. It doesn't live in the past. So why did it make business sense to let them go? Well, the uncomfortable truth for enthusiasts like me and maybe you is the Model S and X were expensive to build, complex to manufacture, and were low volumes compared to Tesla's other platforms. It made sense for Tesla to scale. Tesla today isn't optimizing for car lovers, it's optimizing for systems, factories, software, AI, autonomy. Tesla is no longer just a car company like Mercedes, BMW, Jaguar. And that's the key point that most people miss, especially the media. Tesla is increasingly an AI and robotics company that happens to sell cars, full self-driving vehicles. It also is about to manufacture Optimus, an AI robot. Cars are just becoming hardware platforms for software revenue and efficiency. And once you understand that, the idea of manufacturing lots of low-volume niche models becomes kind of illogical. Tesla doesn't need 5 or 6 body styles when autonomy changes how vehicles are used daily, or how ownership of vehicles in the near future, will change. Of course, they have launched the Model YL, the quiet replacement for the Model X, do we think? A longer version of the Model Y. It could be its replacement, its longer wheelbase, already emerging in some markets, and quietly, this is probably replacing the X. It offers more space, more seats, at a lower cost, easier to manufacture. So therefore, the Model X has become surplus requirement, and the Model YL is more efficient. And Tesla always chooses efficiency over drama and nostalgia. So, is Tesla pulling the plug out of the car market? Some media outlets have gone further, suggesting this signals Tesla retreating from car manufacturing, especially in Europe, where you have competition like BYD. But that narrative doesn't really stack up. Yes, BYD is formidable, and yes, they do far more than electric cars. They do hybrids as well, battery manufacturer. But the reality here in the UK, and I suspect the rest of Europe, the Model 3 and the Model Y are still top sellers. They dominate fleet sales. They dominate company car lists. They dominate charging infrastructure conversations. Tesla hasn't lost relevance. It's just concentrating on those key products, and with Robotaxis coming as well. Autonomy, cybercabs. That's the future for them. That's where the money will be. So the real shift is this. Tesla doesn't need to sell as many different cars when cars themselves will become just autonomous assets. If a vehicle can operate 80 to 100 hours a week as part of a robotaxi network, ownership changes, usage changes, and the value changes. Cybercabs isn't Tesla abandoning cars, it's Tesla redefining cars. That worries enthusiasts, petrol heads. People fear a future where Tesla only builds appliances on wheels. But history suggests Tesla will still sell consumer cars, just fewer, more optimized ones. And don't forget the sports car that's going to be launched in April. So this isn't the death of Tesla. We salute those halo cars. It's just the end of an era that we've known. And that's sad. But the future looks bright. But they did matter. They inspired. They converted skeptics. But Tesla doesn't look backwards, as I've said. They always look forward. This isn't the death of Tesla. It's just the end of their first chapter. And what comes next isn't about prestige or luxury. It's about autonomy, intelligence, and scalability. Whether you like it or not, that's the direction of travel. So we pay homage to the S and the X. With fondness, they still look great. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this and how you feel about, did the Model S or X pull you into Tesla? Will you miss them? Or do you think Tesla is doing exactly the right thing in moving forward? Drop a comment below. I do read everyone and respond to them. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. And the next one next week is our Valentine's special, my love for my Model Y. I'll be doing something special for her. Until then, take care.